Hi everyone, my name is Jackie Perez. I work with Road to Baby Surrogacy and Egg Donation Agency, and I'm also 22 weeks pregnant on my first surrogacy journey. And today I am talking to you about the need for abstaining from sex during certain parts of your surrogacy journey and why that is so vital and so important to this entire process. When you decide to become a surrogate, it is truly a life-changing decision, not only for your family, but for the family or the individual that you've said you're going to help bring life into this world for. Remember, these intended parents who are desiring to grow their own family many times have been on a journey through failed IVF attempts, and they've been desiring a family and trying to grow their family for sometimes many years. So I think it's first important to make sure when you decide that you want to become a surrogate, you are not in a place where you are wanting to currently grow your family, or you're in a place where you are done growing your family. You know that you don't want any more kids, and this is a good time to help another family grow their family because you are either done or you are not in a season where you are wanting to do that. And dive right in and talk about abstinence during these certain key times in your surrogacy journey. You're gonna first learn about this in admissions. So when you apply to be a surrogate with Road to Baby, our admissions coordinator who's gonna help you get started, fill out that beginning paperwork, is gonna let you know, hey, there are gonna be certain times in this journey where we're gonna ask you, or the IVF clinic actually is going to be the one who's gonna ask you to refrain from having sex. Okay, so what are those times? When you get through the process, so you have gone through admissions, you have been matched with a set of intended parents or an individual single mom or single dad, you are then going to move on to the medical screening phase. You're going to go through contracts, medical screening, and then you will get your cycle calendar that'll tell you the medications that you're going to take and when your embryo transfer is going to be. So we'll back up a few steps. When you are first meeting the IVF clinic and getting to know them and their process, they are going to give you their guidelines. And typically, their guidelines are going to ask you to refrain from sex sometimes when you start your medication. Now, when you start your medication, there's going to be two that you probably will be taking, and that is going to be your estrogen and your progesterone. Estrogen, you're going to start first and could be upwards of a month before your embryo transfer, and then your progesterone, you'll start about a week before your embryo transfer. Now, you may have to refrain from sex during this time, or making sure that you are using every precaution to not become pregnant. After you have your embryo transfer, this is where it is absolutely critical that you refrain from having sex. So during the embryo transfer, this is where they are going to implant the embryo that was created by the intended parents into your cervix, and you are going to need to refrain from having sex at least until the first pregnancy test. They'll begin testing you 10 days post embryo transfer, and then again around 14 days. If you do not receive a positive pregnancy test or levels are not where they want you to be, then they're gonna test you again and be looking for growing numbers at day 14. Sometimes there may be some complications, there may be some reasons why they may ask you to refrain from sex all the way up until 10 weeks post-transfer. And it's important that you know that before you get started. The IVF clinic is going to let you know of this right up front and right from the beginning. Now, it will also say in your legal contract, which will happen before you start medication, before you do anything with the IVF clinic, you're gonna sign off on your legal contracts. And the legal contracts will actually just refer back to whatever it is the IVF clinic is wanting and asking of you. So it'll typically say something like, you will abstain from sexual activity as determined by your IVF clinic. If you have a partner or a spouse, both you and your partner or spouse will have to sign off on this during your legal contracts. So what happens if you get pregnant? Let's say you've signed legal contracts, you're well on your way to your embryo transfer, and you find out that you're pregnant. Well, number one, congratulations to you. You know, having a baby is exciting and becoming pregnant is exciting for you. It means for the intended parents is that this process has completely stopped. It is stalled out. Your contract will be voided. The intended parents will need to rematch and go through this process again, which is very emotional, very time consuming, and hard on the intended parents as they rematch and go through this process again of hopefully getting their desired outcome of a baby. For you, if you do desire to be a surrogate in the future after you have had your baby, you'll have to wait either 6 months if you had a vaginal delivery or 9 months if you had a C-section to be medically cleared again. You'll have to start the process completely over from scratch, going through each of the steps that you have already been approved and gone through before you can move forward in becoming a surrogate again. So it really does put a hindrance on this process. It is really hard for the intended parents when this happens. So I hope this video is helpful. I hope that it gives you a better understanding of why you've been asked to refrain from sex during certain times of your surrogacy journey and help you understand why it's so important and vital to this journey and to the intended parents that you are able to adhere to truly all the steps and parts of this journey. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. We'll make sure to get back to you, and we'll see you in the next video.